we're back. Did you miss us? Did you think you got rid of us?
That was the most millennial pause I've ever seen in my life.
That's like is it recording? Okay, wait. Hi, like, no, for real. Yeah, you didn't get rid of us. We're back, and maybe better than ever, because we kept our last episode to exactly 1 hour, so we're really figuring this thing out now. For those of you who don't know or are new to this is my co-host Richie. He looks like he unironically listens to The Reason by Hoobastank.
Great song. I am joined by my co-host Jordan. She's the one who taught me how to Cotton Eye Joe, and damn it if it wasn't 10 out of 10 on the coaching job.
Thank you. Yeah, it was some of my finest work to date, I think. Yeah, that's something I can teach. That's a teachable skill, I think. I was taught by someone, so that's really just the circle of life, like Hakuna Matata as it goes, is that if someone teaches you, it's like a chain email. If someone sends you a chain email, you have to send it to someone else. If someone teaches you to Cotton Eye Joe, you have to pass that on to someone else. It's inherited knowledge.
I just have to find somebody to pass it along to, and I'm going to do a terrible, terrible job.
You do. You have to give the curse to someone else to be free of the curse. Anyway, that's so chaotic and not at all what we have in store for you today. What we have planned for today's episode, because I was trying to figure it out calendar wise when this is going to release. Because we're actually planning ahead. We're using our collective brain cell and planning ahead. So this is going to come out the week of New Year's, or the week before New Year's, theoretically. If we stay on schedule?
I think so. Yes.
I think so. So what we decided to do is do a little year-end recap for you. We've collected, I think we've collected, I've at least scavenged some things that we would consider the best of 2023, because a lot happened this year, and especially for people that are as chronically online as we are, a lot happened that was worth recapping this year and bringing back. So we're talking, it's like it runs the whole gamut, but we're talking like music, movies, TV, maybe, I don't know if you put any TV down, things that we saw on the internet, things that we did, and just like general, I don't know, pop culture moments for 2023, I would say.
Yes, absolutely. It was a fantastic year for many reasons. My favorite part, though, is when we're a little bit later on, when we get to the best like pop culture / memes of the year. It's going to be so fun to like relive some of that stuff again, because I think both of us in a way, like we had our top ones, but like once we kind of started to deep dive a little bit and kind of go back and look at some of the things from pop culture that happened much, much earlier on in the year, it's fun to go back and see those things again, because it's like, man, I completely forgot about some of these things happening. So hopefully
there was some stuff too that I was like, did that really happen this year? Because that feels like that was like 20. You have one or the other with this. You're like, 2000. You were like, well, 2018 was like 2 years ago, right? That's like one end of the spectrum. You're like, that can't have been that long ago. Or the other end of the spectrum was like, did that really happen this year? Because time feels not real in that way. So we'll see. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, we got some good stuff on this one, going all the way back. We have a brand new meme to share with you that Jordan and I have been obsessed with like the last week or so. Can't wait to get into some of those. But this is show and tell, so we come with video and audio evidence for you to relive some of these moments. So that's coming up a little bit later.
We do, and by we I mostly mean Richie, because he's the MC, the show, the behind the scenes, front of house show person, stage manager for the podcast.
It's my producing heart. As a producer, I overproduce half the time, and so I have plenty of stuff ready. What make air? We'll never know. We have an hour to figure it out.
I don't know, but I'm just the person that shows up like I'm the talent. I just show up half prepared 20 minutes before we're supposed to go on stage, and is like, I don't know, we'll just do it live, whatever. Let's just see what happens.
I'm curious because like this is funny, because I would consider you to be a lot more prepared generally than I am. I always fly by the seat of my pants about 9 times out of 10. And because, for example, like when we went to go see Boy Genius, like you were the one that was like on top of everything and like planning the trip for us, basically.
That's true. I'm planned about certain things. I am not planned about a lot of stuff. But if it has to do with like travel, like you need an itinerary, you need to be somewhere at a specific time, I'm really good with that. If it's like literally anything else, like my procrastination is so high. I need like a hard deadline to be working against in order to get anything done because I'll just sit on it and wait and be like it's that thing that's like whatever task I've been procrastinating for the last 4 months that took me 10 minutes to do, and I will not learn from this mistake.
Yeah, so I'm like generally curious to see and compare our notes that we took for this particular episode more so than any other episode, or just in general before a show, and compare our notes and see who has what notes of what. My notes for this show are like legit. Like I have like a list of like 25 things to talk about.
Are they handwritten again like they were for the Hallmark movie?
No, this one's digital. This is on the Google Doc. I did not put it on our shared doc though, because no spoilers.
Right, I didn't want you to see what I was doing. I had to like put it down below, be like, I'm typing here, don't look at this.
So we both have our lists. Let's dive straight in here, so we can get this under an hour, like we did last
We'll
week, which is
see.
like cheating
We'll,
miracle. All right, so
we'll see.
how you feeling? You want to go movies, TV, music first? What do you think?
I feel like maybe we have the least ammo for movies and TV, so we could start there because I feel like we have
Mm-hmm.
a lot of ammo for music and pop culture.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that's a good
Let's
call.
go. Yeah, let's go worst to first here.
Worst to first. Okay, so oh, yeah, we'll go movies first. I have 4 movies listed here. I
Okay.
overall did not think this was like a great year for movies. Like there were a few that I really liked, but other than that, there wasn't much there. There's still a few movies that come out that I kind of want to see that are like Oscar nominated, but there wasn't a whole lot. So there's several movies that came out this year that I was like disappointed by, like Mission Impossible, disappointing. Wasn't a big fan. Indiana
Didn't see
Jones, Indiana Jones, Dial of Destiny, terrible.
didn't see it. I haven't seen any since the original 3 though, so
Mm,
actually I might have seen the weird one with the crystal
yeah, Crystal
aliens.
Skull, yeah, the fourth one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think I saw that one when it came out, but that was like wasn't that when they tried to get Shia LaBeouf in the Indiana
Shia
Jones
LaBeouf
universe?
was like supposed to be like he was supposed to be like Indiana Jones Jr. kind of like to take
Mm.
over the franchise, and spoiler alert, they just kill him off screen in
Yeah,
the
I don't
last
think
movie.
that's a spoiler alert anymore. That movie happened so many years ago.
But anyway, yeah. So a lot of movies underwhelmed this year, but I have 3 movies listed that
I have 4.
like above all else kind of were the top ones for me that I think are kind of stick with me more so than others.
Okay.
Um, so I'm gonna go with look, one of my favorite movies of all time released this year, and it was by probably my favorite director. Has not missed yet. The 4K Blu-rays of this are non-existent. They've like sold out everywhere, so I haven't even bought my copy yet, so I can have for myself. This is Oppenheimer's year. That movie, I still think about that movie. I saw it twice in theaters back in July, and like I'm still thinking about it today. We were talking about it. I was going out the other day with my friend group, and we spent like 15 minutes talking about Oppenheimer, and like it's still in the zeitgeist of the pop culture. It's the number one contender for best picture of the year. So Oppenheimer, like top notch, 11 out of 10 for me.
I agree with that. I think that definitely made my list. I think one, it got snubbed because of the best visual effects nomination snub. Listen, Marvel, we're all in superhero fatigue, I think, at this point. Like there's just been so many movies and series, and like I'm really behind on everything. I love Marvel. I love Marvel Studios. I like DC stuff too. I'm so behind on all of the series because there's just been so much content. So I think that Ant-Man and the Wasp had no business making, and maybe they did have, business making the best visual effects category, but not over something like Oppenheimer. But it did spawn a really fun tweet this week, which I saw, which was like, Christopher Nolan is about to bring his practical effects suitcase and demonstrate the best visual effects, which is rough if you think about it, but it was a funny tweet. So Oppenheimer definitely made my list. It was Cillian Murphy is fantastic in that. Robert Downey Jr. is fantastic in that. It's like everybody collectively had to reset and be like, that guy is a better actor than just Tony Stark.
Hmm.
And I think that was a really good like pop culture reset. But that whole cast is great.
11 out of 10. Everybody in that movie, so good. It was 3 hours long, and it didn't feel like it. It's incredible. So
I'm over here.
that's my
It felt like it. It felt like
that's
3 hours.
well, because you did the double feature. I did not. I saw them on different days, which I'm going to assume this is a great transition based on your current attire. One of the movies that made your list.
It absolutely was, my friend. Barbie made my list. Barbie should make everybody's list this year. Um, Not even necessarily just like because you enjoyed it, but like it's fun. It's fun, and it was a really good thing in the year, and it brought people together. It brought people together sometimes because it was like, I despise the Barbie movie. I don't want to go see it, but people came together around it for that reason. And then there was a whole other group of people that was like, dress in pink, show up, bring your friends, start greeting people with hi Barbie. Like that was a thing. And like you said, I did the double feature, and Oppenheimer, I went at, I don't know, 10 or 11 a.m. and like in a college town, like on a weekday, I think, because it was over the summer. And so there was like no one in it. And the people, there were like two or three people in the row behind me. They were like, "Are you doing the double feature?" And I was like, "Absolutely, I am." But that was about it. They're like, it was a pretty small crowd. I walked into Barbie at like, I don't know, 3 or 4 PM, like whatever the budget time in between those things were, because like you said, Oppenheimer's like 3 hours, so I had to budget enough time. Um, Time to like get a fun little drink, drive around, listen to Barbie Girl like once, and then like come back and like sit down and get prepared. Um, that's like pre-gaming Barbie. It's like you get a fun little like caffeinated beverage and you go do a thing and then you come back. Um, but that theater was like full, like 100% full. Like people were sitting next to strangers because there weren't two seats together, and like people were wearing pink. They were in it. Girls were dragging their boyfriends to it. Girls were dragging all of their friends to it, like of all ages. It was fantastic. We had a really good time. We had a really good time. It was like the the girlhood moment of the summer was like Barbie Eras Tour, which I'm sure we'll talk about, but like that was a thing. So that definitely made my list, and I'm trying to convince my dad to watch it. Uh, he sent me a picture this week that it was like one of the airplane movies, and he was on a flight. I was like, "You should watch it," and he's like, "There's too many witnesses." It's like no one's gonna judge you for that. You
Sorry,
muted
my mic
yourself.
was muted.
There
My
you go.
mic was muted. I was like,
Oh
"What did
my
I do?
god,
Why
this
aren't you?"
it's the Zoom flaw.
Yeah, I was like, "Why aren't you responding? Did I say something stupid?" I
No,
s-
I
I'm just
simply
gonna
cannot hear you.
edit this out. I'll probably edit this out.
You
I
could keep
said
that in there,
Barbie.
whatever.
I said Barbie is the perfect airplane movie.
Barbie is a good airplane movie. It falls in that category because you don't really need an understanding. I think did we talk about this on a previous episode that like you don't really need an understanding of what goes on in order to enjoy a good airplane movie, but it needs to be enjoyable also from over a stranger's shoulder from like 2 rows behind.
Hmm. Right.
Barbie's a great
Right.
airplane movie. I'm trying to learn the choreography to the Barbie dance. Uh which I can't, by the way. Like if you've ever seen me in public, I dance like a white dad at a barbecue. Um but
I'm just
it's
going out of
rough.
focus on you. What the
You
hell is
what's
going on?
happening with you?
Yeah, our stuff is so bad, ladies and gentlemen. What the
You are
hell?
Richie's stream is losing its mind over there. I'll say this because I
Oh,
think,
there we go.
oh, he's troubleshooting. I think this probably also made your list, but Across the Spider-Verse, did that make your list?
It did. Yes, absolutely.
That was a good one. That was a really good one, and, like, it was a great transition from the first one. I love the art style of that first movie. There's just,
Mhm,
like there's so much to love about it, and there's so much character about it, and it was just really fun to, like, see all of those characters come back, and, like, it's cool to see Miles' story, how he's really, like, coming into his own. My dad had not seen my parents in general had not seen the first one, and so I put on the
mhm,
second one here when they were here for Thanksgiving. Um, and I will say, like, that's a movie that you should see as big as possible
mhm,
with as good of a sound system as possible, and I think that's applicable for a lot of the things that we're gonna name, because
mhm.
that's just a really good theater experience. It's like Top Gun. Like, Top Gun: Maverick
Yeah,
is very different sitting at home than it is in a theater with the surround sound, with the
yep.
airplane noises happening. Same thing for Spider-Verse. The soundtrack sounds incredible. I'm sure the first one at least I can speak on, but it sounds great in surround sound, and it's just like a way better viewing experience to do that. And there's certain movies that you don't have to go to a theater for, like you can small screen it, but like Oppenheimer definitely fell into that category. Need to see it on a big screen, need to
Mhm.
see it with surround sound. I would put Spider-Verse there too.
Yeah, Across the Spider-Verse, I loved it, like, getting out of the theater, and I'm a big Spider-Man fan. Spider-Man was my favorite superhero as a kid, and so, like, I was pretty well versed in a lot of the lore of the Spider-Man universe and a lot of the characters that kind of showed up or in and out. And so that was really cool experience to see some of these characters show up from time to time, as opposed to like my friends who I saw it with aren't as big Spider-Man fans, and so they didn't catch on to some of the little Easter eggs and stuff like that. But like it was full of Easter eggs. The way they animated every universe differently was so cool. Like we were just talking about the best visual effects. Like to me, Cross Spider Verse should win hands down. Like that movie just looked cool. It looked different. It was so dope to see like some of those scenes where like he's in this Spider Central. I don't remember what they called it, and like and Miles is running away from this gang of thousands of different Spider Men, and every single one had little details. Was just it was epic, and it was unfortunately it was just one half of a fuller movie. The
Mhm.
cliffhanger was top notch, by the way. We all
Yeah.
walked out of the theater and was like, I want to go see the second part right now. And unfortunately, it's gotten delayed, so it's probably not going to come out until 2025 now. So we have to wait forever for the second part to come out. But I agree, it's up there, and I don't think it's like going to get nominated for Best Picture, although it should. To be honest, it should. But that was like my number two. That was my number two. So I'm glad we both agree on so far. I did not have Barbie on my list, if only because I knew you were going to bring it up. So that's
You looked at me, you're like, that's Barbie. That's gonna
hmm
happen." Yep. That's me. Maybe I'm predictable. Who knows? What else you got?
so. I got one more. I had listed three. I had Oppenheimer Across the Spider Verse. The other one is the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie that came out this year,
Okay. I
the
didn't see that
animated
one.
one. And it's as a TMNT fan, I was a fan when I was a kid. I've watched pretty much every one of the movies, whether it's animated or not, across my time on this planet. This one has a great cast. It is I didn't know what to expect from it. I wasn't originally going to watch it at all. I didn't see it when it was in theaters because I was like, I don't know if I'm going to like this or not. But I watched it on Paramount Plus for the first time, and I remember texting Corey and Scotty because they're big Team and T fans as well. I was like, dude, this movie's awesome. It's so funny. It's really well done. The animation style is cool. It's very similar to Across the Spider Verse, honestly, but with Ninja Turtles, and it is like the perfect like fun as hell like family movie. And I recommend if you get a chance to watch it to check it out. It's really cool.
I might do that. Yeah, that's one I didn't see. I saw a lot of ads for that one because
hmm
I think like that was out around the same time that Barbie and Oppenheimer or whatever were coming out because they were kind of promoting it like on the tail end of some of these other movies. Um, One that made my list late was The Marvels.
Mm.
which I know that you also enjoyed. And like as I talked earlier about superhero fatigue, and then went ahead and listed 2 superhero movies on my category. Um, I thought it was fun. I thought it was really fun. That and, like, going back to retroactively to Spider-Verse, I think that Spider-Man is a character that really has, like, gotten his due over the last couple of, like, Marvel projects, especially with what was it called? No Way Home, the most
Yeah.
recent one?
Yep, yep.
Um, especially with, like, No Way Home, with, like, that involvement, like, really setting up, like, the importance of Spider-Man, and then obviously the continuation with Spider-Verse, like, we're kind of giving those characters their due, and I think that we gave Captain Marvel her due as well, and the future of that project, with the Marvels plural as individual characters and, like, going forward. But that one's really fun. If you saw the first one, you liked it, you'll like this one. And especially if you saw the series, Ms. Marvel,
Mhm.
or WandaVision, or both, then you're gonna like this. The future of Captain Marvel and Miss Marvel and Photon, or whatever they decide to call her, is very safe and in good hands going forward. And I'm excited to see where they take it. There were a couple of moments of that like I was actually crying laughing, and the people next to me like did not necessarily think that it was as funny as I did.
Right.
But it was very specifically. I don't know if I can talk specifically about scenes. It's been out long enough. Um, the bit where there's Flurkin kitties and they're running around and they're eating the Saber crew, and it's like the PA announcement. They're like, "Please remain calm. Like, let the Flurkins eat you." And there's a version of Memory from Cats playing in the background, and that is so pigeonholed into my exact niche and my sense of humor that I was like shaking laughing, and the people next to me like thought it was funny, did not think that it was funny at the same level as I did, and I was like, I have to probably apologize for my conduct here, my etiquette, going back to our last episode.
I I
Um,
I love that scene too. As a cat person, I was like, "Yes, give me all the Flurkins you can get." 10 out of 10.
that's that's
My
so true.
favorite part is and it made me laugh, especially knowing that Brie Larson is highly allergic to cats. I think this is what made it even funnier,
Is
is
she really?
when
I didn't know that.
yeah, when, Carol is chasing after one of them, and she's like, "Come here, kitty,"
Come here, kitty.
and doing a little, like, waddle, shuffle, run
Mhm.
after it. Top notch.
Top, yeah, that's top notch. It's the one where the other one that really got me was like the visual effects on this were really cool too. There was an element to this that I don't think we've really seen a lot from Marvel movies before, which is like their like whole switching powers thing. So like whenever they use their powers, they switch places. And that was really cool that like the flow of that, the visual flow of that, and to see like toward the end each person harnessing that to like fight really well and come up with a good strategy. And there's that bit where they're, workshopping it and they're like
That
walking
was
with
so
books on
good.
their head and then they switch out. That was all really good. But there's one where like they're falling from the sky and they switch out and Carol hits the deck so hard right in front of Nick Fury, and he's all concerned because he thinks it's the other two, and he's like, "Oh, it's just Carol." Just very deadpan as she just smacks so hard on the ground. And that was really funny, and that got some good laughs from the theater that I was in.
Yeah,
Should we pivot to TV?
let's do it, let's do it, let's move on. There were some good TV shows. I know that I'm a bigger TV watcher than you, like,
Mhm.
I watch too much of it, to be honest. It's like I'm not a big reader, so I prefer a visual medium, so I watch a lot of TV,
Okay.
and
So
so
I'll let you take the lead on this because I only
mhm,
have a couple of points because, like you said, I'm not a big TV watcher. And I tend to be a TV watcher in the worst way, which is like either I will watch a show as it comes out and then not finish it for whatever reason. I don't know. I'm stupid. Or watch a show in its entirety, but it's a show that's either already finished, it's been canceled, or for one reason or another, like has to wait for a long hiatus, and then I just forget to pick it back up. So the amount of TV shows that I've actually started and finished over the last handful of years has to be so, so low. We need like a Spotify Wrapped for shows that you started on Netflix and then never finished.
right?
Uh, So my 2 that I did finish this year were Poker Face with Natasha Lyonne.
Great.
She's great. Russian Doll was great. If you are looking to get into a couple of Natasha Lyonne series, she's fantastic. The Last of Us, which I think is on everybody's list from HBO Max this year. I didn't play the game prior to watching the series, so I had no idea what I was in for. And
Same.
I can't like compare it to the source material, which feels like kind of inauthentic. And now I just kind of want to go play the game. But I also have an ancient PS4 that sounds like a Boeing if you start something on it. Um, and that was literally the only 2 shows that I started and finished this year. So I had to name a couple more, and I was like, shows that are not from 2023, but that I got
Hmm.
into in 2023 because my watching habits are so bad. First on that list was The Bear. I haven't finished it. I haven't seen the latest season. That whole show is like an extended panic attack. And
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
we talked about this. Like,
Yep.
I've never
Yep.
worked in food service. I know that I would not make it in food service, and that show just confirms that I would not make it in food service. Uh, Horrifying that the anxiety, the baseline anxiety level of that show is too high for me. Uh, Wednesday, which I think started late in 2022, so I think this still counts because it was not out for very many months in 2023. And then I have Warrior Nun, which the last season aired last year. The show deserved better. I will defend that to my grave, and I'm trying to make other people watch it. I like told my mom she needs to watch it, and I keep creeping on her Spotify profile and being like, "Has she started it yet? How far in is she?" Because we have a shared family account. She hasn't
Hmm.
started it. I'm a little disappointed in you at my mom because she might actually listen to this. But anyway, if you haven't seen that one, even if it doesn't sound like your cup of tea, watch that one
Yeah,
because
you brought that
I
up.
thought
You brought
I
that
didn't.
show up to
Yeah,
me as well,
I didn't think I was
and
gonna like it at all. The way that it was
yeah,
pitched to me, I was like, I don't. This doesn't necessarily sound like it's for me. And then it just was, and I was like, okay, fair enough. Good
I
surprise. So
I
that was
made the
it.
plunge and deleted my Netflix account this year
Wow. All right. You said
because
I'm gonna get them before they get me with that $7 household fee.
yeah, exactly. So I just like there's not enough shows on there that I enjoy watching
Hmm.
anymore. So and there's a couple are in a bit of a long hiatus. So I have no reason to go and pick it back up. So I have deleted it, and basically until there are well, there's I think there's 2 shows I'm kind of waiting to come back in order to pick it up again, which is um, Cobra Kai and then The Sandman, which I really like too. And so those
The
2 shows
Neil
are like
Gaiman one.
yes,
Okay.
exactly. Um, which was one of my favorite shows of 2022. It came out last year, and it was terrific. The lead actor who plays the main character who plays the Sandman basically is just like he's so perfect, and it's got this like if you liked Wednesday and it's kind of like horror vibes, this one is somewhat similar to it, albeit more cerebral. I guess I would put it.
Okay.
So I can't wait for season 2 to come out. As somebody who kind of I read a few of the Sandman comics many years ago, like when I was in high school, and really liked them. It's cool to see it on screen and be done so well. So I'm waiting for those 2 shows to come back out. Other than that, I do not have a Netflix account. So whenever I get it again, then I can dive back into every show I missed. So
All right. You take the lead because you're a
yeah,
TV watcher.
exactly. So you actually did mention 2 shows that I have down, which is great. So you mentioned The Last of Us, which was a revelation how good that show was. I did not know what to expect. I was like, most video game adaptations are pretty bad, quite frankly. I'm not much of a video
Yeah.
game player. Um, and so I didn't know what to expect. And I'll be damned if that show didn't just string together 10 episodes that are just damn near perfect for the entire time, including I think it's episode 3 with the 2 dudes, and I don't
Oh
remember their
yeah,
names.
with
Is it,
oh, Frank and
exactly.
it's Nick Offerman's character
Yeah,
and his partner. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. And like
That was a fantastic
that
episode. And
episode of
it wasn't
television.
character centric. It wasn't like it didn't that's a thing that shows that are really good do really well is they can pivot away from that main storyline
Mhm.
and do something that's centric on other characters. and make it work really well, like in the narrative, in the whole story. And that was really, really well done. And obviously, Pedro Pascal deserves all the awards for everything, pretty much. So.
Absolutely. It was
Bella Ramsey, fantastic, and like somewhat relatively unknown. Like I guess outside of the like Game of
Game
Thrones
of Thrones, yeah.
niche, but she's taken off now.
Yeah, and so yeah, that third episode was, and I remember talking to people who were watching at the time along like when it was airing, and we're like, this is the best, one of the best episodes of television I've ever seen, period. And the reason why is because they introduced these two brand new characters, and I'll be damned in 60 minutes if you were just completely in love with both of these two guys. Like
True.
they were so good. You were rooting for them the entire time, and then it gets to the end, and it's like it's shot straight through the heart. Like it's just perfect television. And Nick Offerman, I forget the actor who played alongside him in that. Just give him all the awards too. Give Bella Ramsey the award. Give Pedro Pascal. Just give him all the awards. Except there's another show that's going to give it a run for its money though, and it's one of my favorite shows of all time. One of the best TV shows of all time, and I know you're never going to watch it because it's not your cup of tea at all, and that's totally okay because it's not for everybody.
Is
Succession.
it Succession? Yeah.
Succession. Yep.
I know. I
Is
had
it?
such a hard time because I was like, I was trying to go through and like source and be like, what
Mm-hmm.
even came out this year? And the number one on everybody's list was Succession, and
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that's for good reason. And I like you said, I started it, I tried it, I was like, I don't know, it's can't necessarily get into it, but maybe we'll give it another shot because it's
Mm-hmm.
supposed to be really good. And that's the way that I felt about Breaking Bad. Is like I didn't get into Breaking Bad until long after it was over or like
Mm-hmm.
mostly through because I was like, I don't think I'm gonna like this. And then eventually you do kind of hit a point where you're like, I think I just maybe had to get through like a slow couple of episodes or something, which
Mm-hmm.
happens. But anyway,
Yeah. So Succession is the best acted show on TV, hands down, not even close. It has some of the best writing on TV, hands down, not even close. They announced that this was going to be the last season, so there's only 4 seasons, I think, of the show. And so this is a great thing about TV is when they know the story they want to tell and they tell it, and they're able to tell it without overextending the stay of the characters or anything like that. And that's what Succession did. They came in, they knew the story they wanted to tell, and they flipping nailed it. And there are a couple episodes in this particular last season, which a lot of times, if you're watching TV, I'm sure you're the same way, where you're watching an episode and you're kind of following along, but a lot of times you're going to be on your phone. You're going to be kind of just like, you know, glancing up at the TV to like watch something that was interesting. You know what I mean? And you're
sure.
doing, and you're not like locked in 100%. At least that's how I watch TV. A lot of times I'm not locked in 110%. I'm just trying to catch.
That's that's our undiagnosed ADHD. We need to be
Yeah,
doing like 8 different things at once. Yeah.
exactly. So, but with Succession, a couple of these episodes, especially, I think it was episode like the last three, 8, 9, and 10. Could not. My phone was off. My phone was down. I was locked in the entire time. That's how good this stuff was. And the thing with Succession is because it was like released at the same time, like worldwide. I didn't want to be spoiled on everything, right? So like
That's
that's
true. So you have to
that's
watch it when it drops
yeah.
and yeah.
That's the thing that I miss about like network TV a lot. In the binging culture, we've lost those moments where we're all able to experience stuff at the same time. And Game of Thrones was like that, where every Sunday you were there, you were watching that episode as it got released because you didn't want to be spoiled. And
That's
afterwards,
true. That's
everybody
true.
was online talking about it. And that's how I felt about this season of Succession. And um, there's the big episode was, I think it was episode 8, and something happens in this episode which nobody saw coming, and it more or less happens in real time, and it's so engrossing that it's incredible. Like I need to rewatch it again. Like you can tell the excitement in my voice talking about this show. 10 out of 10.
You bring up a really good point with that about like the bulk drops not having the same weight
Mm-hmm.
as like a weekly episode. And I think that's true. Like I remember that used to kind of used to be the same thing for like movies too, like especially big movies. Like people would all like run out and see it first weekend because nobody wanted to be spoiled on it.
Mhm,
Same thing, like shows that I was watching. Like I remember like when Supergirl was wrapping up, like people
mhm,
were all online at that time, live tweeting the episode or like whatever it was, and like trying to follow along with that, and like that was fun, just to see people's reactions to things in real time. Kind of makes you more invested in it.
mhm. I'll mention, you did mention The Bear,
Mhm.
terrific as well, season 2. You said you haven't caught up to season 2 yet?
I haven't. No, I watched the first one. I'm not caught up.
Okay, good to know,
I may not
good to
ever catch up. That show gives me heart palpitations.
Yes, yes, that's the I mean, you've seen the first season, second season, very similar. There's an
Yeah.
episode in season 2 that's even worse. It's a Christmas episode.
So now we split, right? Now we branch apart on
Mhm,
we branch apart on music, we branch apart on pop culture. Probably a little
mhm,
bit. I think again we're probably gonna have some music crossover because you and I both live in Burlington, Vermont.
yes.
If you were gonna get put there, um, music of the year. I'll let you start.
Okay, so, let's see. Let's just go with what we agree on first, obviously. I
Okay,
should have brought the prop with me, I didn't bring the prop with me, damn it, but,
I can go get some props.
yeah, yeah, go you yeah, because 'cause you'll
You go,
still well, no, wait, maybe not,
okay,
maybe not, so that way we can
no
actually
props,
talk well about this.
no
I
cables.
would we agree that the number 1 album of the year is The Record, right?
I would agree.
Hands
That was
down.
my first choice. I put that
Yep.
there. That's easily defensible as the best altogether record of 2023. Um, just break out for that group in 2023. Um, fantastic. I would. I'm putting that first on everybody's list. And what seems to be good is that now like major publications are putting that up
Yep.
towards the top on their lists as well. And we're starting to move into Grammys season, so we got to be prepared. There was I don't know if we definitely don't have this because I wasn't anticipating to segue this way, but the day that the Grammy nominations came out, for the record and, for Taylor Swift and several artists that we really enjoy, I was live texting Richie pretty much as soon as it happened, and we found out that they had gotten, what was it, 7 Grammy nominations for boygenius as a group and for
Mhm.
the record as an album. I was like, I'm gonna go play on the train tracks, and there are some train tracks, like, fairly outs like, just outside where I work, and I was going to get lunch, and I was like, "I'll just walk across the train tracks because you can, and, like, take a quick picture and send it to him," and so he, like, got this picture of me, like, playing on the train tracks. I was like, "I'm just gonna lay here." Anyway, yeah, that's my consensus number 1.
It's shown up on pretty much every major publication's list, which is awesome because, like, when the album first came out, it was like this little indie record that could type of thing, and, like, it got good reviews when it first came out, but it, like, over the course of the tour, it started to become, like, more and more and more popular to the point that it has now garnered so many Grammy nominations. They're on SNL, right? They're as big as they've ever been. And so to watch that progression has been it's been so cool. It's been incredible.
That's another thing that's just so fun to see in real time. That's like the elevation of that from, somewhat of a niche. Like they had an EP, but like somewhat of a niche to elevated, all the way to star status, like to, be on stage with Taylor Swift or, at the Eras tour,
Mhm.
opening for that, for Phoebe doing the leg that she did with Taylor. And it just all catapulted overnight, and it's well deserved. It's very well deserved.
Absolutely.
Um,
When I was researching a little bit of this before, I found an article from Uprocks that
okay.
was a review of the album, and I almost sent it to you and I didn't. But it was the headline was more or less um like the record doesn't soar as high as it could have or something. And it was a very like middling review. And I saw that I was like, come on.
Come on. Well, somebody has to play devil's advocate, right? There's always somebody. It's usually Pitchfork. Pitchfork is usually at the scene of the crime with their score. Um, I will not forgive Pitchfork for what they did to Little Oblivions, but we won't roast them too much
We'll leave
on won't
we'll leave that rant for another day.
we won't burn them at the stake about that just yet. I also had on my list, which may diverge from yours, but Paramore's "This Is Why," and then also the redo album of that
Mhm.
with all of the features from different artists, like the new interpretations of those songs. I had that record on my list, and then I had Hozier's "Unreal Unearth" on my list, which I love a record with a narrative. I
Mhm.
do. And like from start to finish, this one has a story, it has a path, it has a narrative. You can deep dive into all of this and like find the meaning behind all those songs. Same thing. It's Ethel Cain, Preacher's Daughter, love a record with a narrative. Hosier's Unreal Unearth. I had a Hosier year. I had a Hosier girly year.
Yeah, you were the one that, like, re I didn't listen to Hozier since Take Me to Church, really, right?
Mm,
So I
so
didn't
it's
even
been a
know,
minute.
like, he was still around. He hasn't really been in the pop culture, and really until this year when this record came
Mhm.
out and he kind of blew up, really,
This it's
to
the same thing. I think we're seeing a
yeah,
lot of that just because of social media and pop culture, and it's just taking all of these things and blowing them up and putting them out
mhm.
there.
So, yeah, I did have Unreal on Earth on my list as well, and you're right, like, it's just so it's over an hour long, so it's a very deep record. The reviews for were, like, very middling, and I don't understand why. I think it's because people just, like, didn't like, on a first listen, I can maybe understand that because there's only a few
Sure.
songs that really stand out, but when you deep dive and you listen to Hozier talk about this record, it's really cool because to hear the stories behind the songs, and once you mash those two together and you understand what he's trying to say, it just, like it takes the record to completely brand new heights for me. So I go back to that record quite often. I think it made my Apple Music replay too for like best listened to albums. I think I was listening to it not too long ago. Hozier is coming to town. He's going to be in Phoenix in February for Innings Festival. I still need to get my tickets for that.
Hosier's not coming to Indianapolis. Hosier, please come to Indianapolis. We
Bring
love you in
your
Indiana.
bring your Irish fairy tales
Yeah,
to Indiana.
please bring that the tall Irish forest spirit and all of your stories and your fantastic songs. Please bring them to Indianapolis because we love you. I just don't want to drive to Chicago or Louisville to go see you. I might. I might. We'll see.
Right, right. All right. So generally agree there. I actually did not. I wasn't the. I'm not the biggest Paramore fan in the world. I saw them open on the Eras tour and they were great. I like some of their songs. Haley Williams, terrific. She's great, but I'm just not the biggest fan of them in general. A couple songs, yes, but I did like Bartees Strange and Julian Baker's remixes of Figure Eight and Thick Skull. I go back to those all the time. Those are
Very
terrific.
good.
So
Very
top
good.
notch to that. So where we're going to divulge here, and I teased this, I believe, on our last show. My other two, besides Boy Genius and Hozier, uh, I have Foo Fighters record, but here we are. Um, this is their first record after the death of Taylor Hawkins, their longtime drummer, founding drummer, and man, that album is Dave Grohl kind of got back to his roots, where he was like, I think if I'm not mistaken, like this was basically all him, more or less, which is insane. I think he played the drums on this record, um, and his songwriting is so good. Because not only did he lose Taylor, but he lost his mom in the last couple of years as well. So there are a couple songs you listen to on this record that are just like, man, they're gut punches.
It's
And
true. Yeah, that's rough. Is like an artist that can and I think I heard one of those songs on the radio too, which is
mhm,
that's just a testament to it. That's like if you can take something that has that much weight and that much soul in it and like those lyrics and what you're trying to say and make it palatable for a top 40 radio audience,
Mhm.
that's not necessarily that that was the intention, but it's just incredible craftsmanship to make that appeal to such a wide audience. And then you dig into it and you're like, wow, this actually is really heavy and has a lot of meaning. That's incredible production, incredible songwriting. I really did like that album. I think I listened to it all the way through, so it didn't necessarily make all of
Mhm.
my lists, but I did know that was a good one that came out this year. I'll agree with you.
And I don't think it got. I think it got a few Grammy nominations, not a bunch, but did get some recognition, which is great. So top notch. They're also one of my favorite live bands I've seen too. And I was lucky enough to see them while Taylor was still alive, and just incredible show. I'm sure they're still kicking ass now. So uh, note that. And I mentioned this to you on our last show. Chris Stapleton's new record um, is so good, and the thing that makes Chris Stapleton great is he's not country. I wouldn't consider him country. I would consider him more blues than anything else. And his guitar work is so good. It's more of a bluesy guitar. And you listen to his record and it like kind of bends genres a little bit where there's some more bluesy tracks, some more country tracks, some more pop tracks, and he does it so well. His songwriting is so good, and I love his voice too. Like, as you know from his work with Taylor, his voice is just like on another level good. And it's one of those records that I can just put on like if I'm driving home at night, I get lost in the sauce from that record. So uh,
Lost in Chris Stapleton. All right.
yeah,
I feel it. I feel it. I think you brought up a good point there. That's like the country that has more of a soul, more of a blues soul to it is I can appreciate that. I just don't like the stuff that's out nowadays that's like solely top 40 pop country.
oh yeah, I agree.
It's
Yeah,
not That's not what that was for. It's not what that was originally intended to be, but we could go on about that one for a good long while as well. Um should we talk about the internet? Do we have a
oh
lot of
yeah,
time?
we got
We have
time.
time
We're good.
we have time to
We're
talk about
good.
the internet,
We're good.
always. So we compiled some best of 2023 as seen on the internet. My list is all over the damn place. There is there's so much that happened this year that went viral on the internet or has at least went viral in our circles that was like worth writing down. Um, we can start with let's start with the more general stuff
Hmm.
of 2023. I spoke to this point a little bit earlier, but it was like Barbie Barbenheimer Eras Tour Summer was just like a healing experience for all of us. That was so fun to be a part of. Just in that way, like go to the shows, trade bracelets, talk to people, have a
Hmm.
great time. Like the Eras Tour was healing for a lot of us. And then the Eras Tour movie, we were like,
Hmm.
that was great also because I am realizing how much stuff that I blacked out on because I was just like so excited and like not processing properly like at the show. I was like, "Oh, that I guess I did see that happen," but, like, I was just, like, up here the whole time. You walk out of a concert, you're like, "What just happened?" You feel like you've been hit by a truck. It was like that was the Eras Tour for me. So that's nice to have that taped so that I could go back to that, but I think, like, overall, there were also those 2 re-records that dropped this year that were a really fun internet moment to be a part of because we were all kind of collectively experiencing that together. Were
Let's
you
yeah.
Were you awake for the Speak Now drop? Because I think you were.
Oh,
That was
absolutely.
the
Yeah, yeah.
first one. That was the first one.
Yes.
Okay, I was asleep. I was asleep for that, and you know that I was asleep for that.
Hmm.
That had been a night of just personal attack against personal attack. Because I remember at like 3 PM, I was, like, leaving work that day. It was, like, 3 PM and those first pictures came out because that was Phoebe's leg as the opener, and those first
Hmm.
pictures came out, and it was boygenius on stage, and this was in Nashville. And I was Googling on my phone. I was like, how quickly can I drive to Nashville? And like, should I do it? Because we all saw that happening. And I was like, oh no, this is going to be it. So it was that. And then it was also like the man from the
Because there were
1975.
I think actually before that, it was just that we had heard reports and
Mhm.
videos that they were sound checking.
Right,
So this was like
there were
hours
rumors that
before
they were
the
sound
show.
checking.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I
And then
remember,
a
and
picture
you and I
came
were
out
texting at the
officially.
time. Yeah.
Uh-huh. And then a picture came out officially, and it was like gunshot, and then it was like the lead singer of the 1975, who at the time they were rumored to be dating, gunshot. Like, picture of him, like, in the VIP tent, and we were like, I don't know about that one." And there was it was what else happened? I think it was, like, didn't they play Cool About It that night or something? But it was, like, horrifying. We were all like,
Mhm.
"Gunshot." And I had been or it was the surprise songs or something, and I had been, like, personally victimized just a lot that night, and I went to bed, and I woke up at, like, I don't like, midnight, right? Or, like, 11 o'clock, cold feeling in my bones, like, in my chest, like, I knew that something had happened before I looked at my phone. I was like, sit up like Dracula in the dark. You sit up like this out of your coffin, and you're like, "Something's wrong." And I had about 15 text messages because it was you, and then it was my friend Mac who was like I don't remember if she was at the show that night or if it was the night before, but I had text messages from people about that happening, and I went on Twitter, and it was like it was horrifying. It was like the world was ending, the roof was crumbling, everything was on fire, people were, like, losing their minds, and it was really fun to be a part of, but in the moment, it was like, "What do we do? Where are we going? What's happening?"
I brought
That was
back our texts from that night. I have
You
them right
found it.
here.
Okay. I don't
Um,
I'm
I
prepared to
all
read
caps
what I
this to
said.
you
Okay.
at 8:47 p.m. Pacific time. So this was
So that
slightly
would've
before
been
midnight.
Yep.
Slightly before midnight. And I said all caps. Jordan, she just announced Speak Now Taylor's version July 7th. So I just let that out there because I knew that you were likely asleep. So I was like, she'll see this in the morning.
Mhm.
Much to my surprise, I get a text approximately 20 minutes later from you past midnight that said, she finally did it. Question mark, question mark, question mark, question mark, question mark, question mark. It's free. Question mark, question mark, question mark, question mark.
It's free, yeah. No, that
Nashville
feels great.
deserves to get mead after all the good stuff they did today.
Correct, yeah, and then she waited to meet people until Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, or maybe it was Sao Paulo, but she had to go to Brazil for people to get mead. I was like, "Ugh." I was so concerned, by the way, that I think there's probably also text evidence of this, but I was concerned that I was gonna get me at my shows, and it was gonna
Hmm.
be like, game over. So that happened, but then 1989 happened, and we were both awake for that because there were enough puzzle pieces floating around for that one. We were like, that feels likely that that could happen tonight." And so we were both awake for that one, and
Hmm.
it was, seeing her come out in each of those blue outfits and
Hmm.
watching the live streams and just seeing it all happen in real time, and we were like, "Oh, no, it's going down," and then it did, and there's always that point at which, Taylor Nation goes live on Instagram, and you know
Yeah,
that
you're
something's
right.
about to
Hmm.
happen. You're like, "Oh, no," and it was like, "Taylor Nation is live." We're like, "Ugh." So that happened. For anybody who's not a Taylor Swift fan, they're gonna be so confused by reading like, hearing this. They're like, What are these 2 on about?" Um, the only other thing that I have related to Taylor Swift, which, like, I asked people on my Instagram, I was like, "What were some things that happened in 2023 that you were like, you wanna talk about, that were big, like, pivotal moments for you?" And a lot of people had things to do with Taylor Swift on what they sent me, which is great. I think we don't have to elaborate on this, but special consideration to the vigilante shit choreography from the Eras tour. That's what needs to be said. I'm sorry, I gotta say it. I have to put it out there. It is what it is. Know that I went to that concert with my mother. Next point.
Twice.
It's true, but the second time she knew it was happening, I, like, reached over and, like, covered her eye. I was like, I don't know how to explain what's happening here, but you need to just roll with it."
Yeah, so yeah, when I went in Glendale, I had watched pretty much the entirety of the show on TikTok the night before, so I knew everything I was getting into going into the show. And I even told Corey, I was like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to survive vigilante shit, and I did. It was
See,
somehow.
that's where you and I differ is, like, you wanted to know what was gonna happen beforehand.
Yes.
You know this about me, I don't like to know the set list, I don't wanna know
Mhm.
what's happening, and I managed to avoid it all the way through until my shows, and then obviously the second night, you're like, you know what's happening 'cause you've been there and you've seen it, but there's always the surprise songs, which can I say, the surprise songs, night 1 in Denver, 'cause we got Picture to Burn, you couldn't even hear her 'cause
Mhm.
the people were screaming so I was like, it was shaking the building. You couldn't hear Taylor. It was fantastic. I will always remember that. Other moments from you?
I got a few on my list here before we get to some of our show and tells.
Let's do.
Um, yeah, I think oh, one Eras Tour thing left, which is this only came to my attention when the movie came out, and then it started to become a thing, more or less. And I think I even mentioned this to you, I believe, but the dancer whose name is Jan Rabnik or something. This dude just blew
Mhm.
up when the movie came out, all of a
It's true.
sudden. And I
It's
kid you
true.
not, Corey and I get out of the show and we go grab some food afterwards, as you do, and we spent 10 minutes talking about this man.
He deserves it. He deserves it. It was like all these people collectively, like, their conscience being like, "Who is that guy?" He did great. It was he puts in work in that tour film. And, like, it's some really good close-up screen time of that. I can't
Exactly. It got put a
listen,
lot of
I
people
can't
into a
complain.
tizzy.
I can't complain. People were in a tizzy about it. I can't complain.
Um, that's the only Taylor thing I actually have on my list. I actually do have on my list too. Nonstop Taylor clowning. I have that on my list too, which we kind of talked
That's
about. You know,
that's just a you thing, though. That's a Richie Flores particular brand is ladies and gentlemen, everything that comes out about Taylor on Twitter, every single thing, everything. I can't avoid it because it's gonna come to me some way or somehow because he's either gonna send it to me on Twitter, he's gonna text me it, and he's gonna put a little clown emoji next to it, and, like, he recognizes that he's doing it, but he won't stop. But he won't stop. He gets fooled every single
it's
time
too much
by
fun.
everything
It's
that
too
comes
much
out.
fun.
It's it raises my baseline heart rate to see all of the things that the teenagers clown about on the internet because I can't do it. It's not good for me. Like if I bought into everything that they said on the internet, I would one be awake at all hours because they do that, but like two just have a freak out. And there was I don't remember what it was recently that I sent you. I think it was probably the Reputation. It was probably something having to do with Rep Taylor's version. And I was so over it at this point that I sent an audio message to Richie and it was the clown carnival music in the audio message. I didn't say anything. I just sent him the music and I was like, "You'll know what this means. You'll get it."
That was really hilarious. That gave me a good laugh. Okay. Outside of the Taylor stuff, um, how often do you think about the Roman Empire?
I knew that was coming. Um Not every day, but it was fun to see all those people talk about, like, what their Roman Empire was, how often they thought
Hmm.
about it. Men think about the Roman Empire a surprising amount. I also there's a tweet, I wish I had it, but I just now thought of it. I should have come prepared, but there's a tweet that's like it's like this soldier wearing, like, one of those helmets and, like the battle headdresses, but it's, like, viewed from the front, and it's really uncanny when it's viewed from the front, and it was, like, when you're in the Trojan horse and, like, trying to be quiet, but your homie looks at you like this, and it's just, like, that picture of, like, that ridiculous helmet. Anyway, I guess maybe that's my Roman Empire is just meme tweets.
So there's that. There's that. For the record, I don't know what is it like. If you're thinking about the Roman, you're weird. Like trust me, I love history.
If it's your
Don't get me
job
wrong.
to think about the Roman Empire, I think it's okay.
Yeah, yeah. I
If
love
you're like
history. I
yeah.
don't. I don't think ever think about it unless I'm watching it, something about it, which is never the case. Okay, so that's one. That's one other thing. We have some show and tells here. I'm just going to show and then we'll tell in a second. There we
Okay.
go.
I can't. I can't. Hold on.
That, ladies and
Our
gentlemen, if
audio
you're
listeners.
listening to us, that was the Boston cop.
It was the cop slide. It was
Yeah,
cop
nearly
slide.
dying trying to go down a child's slide.
I just love one. All of us have gone down a slide too fast in our lives, and we know kind of like wicked rug burn that you get from that. I want to see what happened to him after the fact. There was who was it? Was it a Braves or not Braves, a Brewers or a Dodgers announcer? I don't remember, but went down the slide at the Brewers park and like broke an arm this year. That made me think of that. But anyway, one of the play-by-play guys for a baseball team was like, how did he make it out of there unscathed? Because you can hear him smacking the side of this metal tube. And people have tried to go down it and replicate this, and they can't replicate it because there's like no, like by all known laws of physics, nobody should be able to go down that children's slide as fast as they did. And just that's a winner for me. That's a winning. Why
Was he going down? Why did he end up going down backwards?
fast? And like he comes out and he's like on his stomach, like feet first. I'm like, what way did you get into the slide to come out of the slide that way? There must be a loop in there that we don't know about, because that's the only thing I can think of. It goes upside down. It's a roller coaster.
I'm glad that you brought this up to me the other day because I completely forgot about it, and it's so good.
Yeah, I forgot about it because it happened early in the year too.
Yeah.
Like when I was watching, I was like scrolling through some of like the recaps of the internet, and it was either like, I don't know, March or April or something, but it was like very early in the year, which, like I said, doesn't feel real. It doesn't feel like it's part of the linear narrative for this year. Why was it so? There's somebody in the background too that's like, why was it so fast?
I'm gonna keep that in our bank, and we'll just play it randomly at random points.
It just makes me laugh. It does.
We'll have that at the ready, and we'll also have this at the ready as well.
For our audio listeners, this is Julian Baker rocketing across the stage at Coachella during Luna's set. They are singing Silk Chiffon, and famously Phoebe has a feature on this. And they were all at Coachella together and decided to bring them out for the last verse or the second verse or whatever it was. And like Phoebe goes and waves them on stage, and for whatever reason, Julian takes off. And this spawned a lot of internet memes, and it was around the time too where that song was going viral. It was like, I woke up in a new Bugatti. So somebody needs to put that back because he was light speed zooming running across the stage. And then the follow up to that is that the second night when they did that and they brought them back out, she's like slow motion walking across the stage. It's like they see our tweets, they know what's happening. My screen did the gesture again. They see us. They see what we post on the internet, and I'm also kind of horrified by that development now. So it's like anything you put out there is fair game. What's the need? What's the need? What's so important? Why are you running?
And she's never been asked about it. She's done so many interviews with the boys this year, was popular, and has never once been asked about it. So we have never gotten.
Maybe that's my Roman Empire. Maybe that's my Roman Empire. That's the one question that I would ask boygenius if I were ever to sit in a room with them. That's like, can you just walk me through this process?
Because the funny thing about this is we know that Julian is like the least online person, maybe in the history of mankind. It came up, in the last week or so that she did not know that people on the internet call her the little one.
Mm-hmm. And famously, her bandmate Lucy has called her the little one on social media.
All right, I think we got one more thing to bring up before we move on here. I'm going to just bring up this particular tweet here, and then we'll discuss, because this is Jordan and I's current obsession.
I know where this is going. For, for our, oh my god, I can't. For our audio listeners, this tweet is from @hopes_revenge, and it says, first date idea, who can drink more Panera Death lemonade? So at the moment, New York's hottest club is the Panera Bread charged lemonade. I want a disclaimer by saying that I feel very bad because this actually did kill someone, actually 2 people now. Um, the internet is having a field day with it. It's all over. It's in pictures of Anne Hathaway from The Devil Wears Prada. It just I don't even know what to say, but the internet's losing its mind over the Panera lemonade at the moment, and oh my god, this can't keep making me read these because I can't do it. It says, this tweet is from @limitlessjust. The problem is Panera doesn't serve a type of lemonade that brings you back down. It's objectively maybe kind of true, but and at Pyramid Head, they should make a Baja Blast that kills you. I've seen so many tweets about either being killed, being healed, whatever from the Panera Bread lemonade, and it's so good. It's so good. But it's very the internet to take a situation like that and immediately turn it into a meme. And I told Richie this before we went live. If something grave happens to me at the hands of a large corporation, I want the internet to make a meme about it. If I get killed going down the cop slide, I want people to make a meme about it. It's true. If I get killed,
yes.
Right? Like if I get killed by, I don't know, I don't even eat that much fast food, but like, say I get killed by a McDonald's McGriddle, I want people to know, like, tell my story. I want people to know that the McGriddle is what took me out.
Can we pause on that for a second and try to figure out why the McGriddle killed you?
I don't know. It would have to be like sugar consumption. Like I'm not sure what would be in that. That was just the first thing that came to my mind because I feel like I don't eat a lot of other things. I don't know.
That's so
I don't know
funny.
why
I'm trying
that's
to like
where my brain went.
Trying to think on my feet here on a story off the top of my head that would have you digesting a McGriddle and then it would eventually kill you. And I can't think of anything.
Maybe you don't digest it. Maybe it's something that's in the McGriddle. I don't know. It's McDeadly is the short of it, is that whatever happens to it, it needs to just be McDeadly or McIndigestible.
McIndigestible.
I'm so sorry for that.
McDonald's, there you go. There's your new idea. We'll send this to this. And we'll and if you're, like we said on our first show, if you have been affected by the McGriddle, you can call 1-800 McDonald's.
If you call 1-800 McDonald's, somebody probably answers, so I wouldn't necessarily recommend you do that. Here's a couple more rapid fire that I had written down because we're running out of time. We did so well on our
once
last
again,
episode,
for the third time in 4 episodes.
We suck, man.
Can't stop talking. All right, now that we have gone way over time, we're gonna wrap it up as we do.
Richie, entertain the people.
Oh, okay, this is great. I love that this is like a new thing on our show every week where I have to pee before the end of the show, and then Jordan just leaves for some reason, and so we're just left to our own devices every week, and it's great.
We're fine.
Oh, you're back.
I got it. We're good. I got it.
That wasn't too bad. That wasn't too long.
My right AirPod died. The battery life is like, it's questionable, highly suspect. And because I've had it on for a little while, it pieced out. It said, "We're done. We need to be done recording."
I'm glad it did, because that means we need to wrap it up with our, as we do every week, with our one brain cell award. You went first on the last show, so that means I get to go first this time. Now I had to rack my brain. I feel like once again, I had a fairly smart week this week. So I was like trying to rack my brain here for something that I did that was stupid. I couldn't really think of anything off the top of my head, unless you have something that I did that I told you about that I don't recall. The
For
closest,
you, I don't know.
yeah, the closest thing I can think of, the closest thing I could think of is, um, I'm working in radio. Uh, if you our shows start at a specific time, if I'm not there, the show doesn't happen. So, this week, the there's a Billy Joel concert at Chase Field downtown. There was also a Phoenix Suns game at right there down the street as well. So traffic was hellacious this week. So I live in the West Valley. I live in Glendale. So generally, my drive to my workplace is about 30 minutes or so. So I was like, oh, cool. I have 30 minutes to get there. So I can leave at, this such and such a time, 5:20, to get there by about 6 o'clock. Problem is, I did not take into account that the traffic was total ass. So I kid you not, and this is like one of the things that gives me like super duper anxiety is if I'm late anywhere. So I was driving to work the entire time, like gripping the steering wheel, like so damn tight because I was so nervous that I was going to be late to get the ASU hockey game on the air. And I ended up showing up, I kid you not, 4 minutes before we went on the air for the show. So I'm going to, that would be my one brain cell award for me this week, which is not looking at traffic before I go anywhere.
I don't know. Going back to our rating system from last week, I'll give you like a 4 on that because I don't think it's the worst thing that's ever happened. And also partially not your fault. That was a really great show, by the way. My parents went to Billy Joel and Stevie Nicks, and they really liked it. I got a lot of videos from that.
Did he play Piano Man?
He definitely played Piano Man. I feel like you have to, right? Maybe that might be like Billy Joel's personal. That might be Billy Joel's personal hell is having like you get to that point and you're like, oh my god, I hope they don't ask me to play Piano Man. Like I have so many other songs and all they want to hear is Piano Man. Or like Uptown Girl. You're like, can I please play something else? Please. Like what is it? Like Scenes from an Italian Restaurant. Like I want to do the entirety of that song. I don't care what you want. I'm Billy Joel. I'm going to do whatever I want. Same thing, Stevie Nicks. You're like everybody's waiting for like Edge of 17, like Landslide. You're like, can I do something else, please? Anyway, I feel like you get to that point where you just like despise some of those songs.
Oh yeah, especially when you're like the Rolling Stones are coming back on a big massive tour for they had their last tour 15 years ago, but they still keep going.
Right. But it's just going to be greatest hits and like by the end of the tour they're like we are so sick of this.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Exactly.
No, I feel like that's true.
All right, what do you got? One brain cell award.
My one brain cell has to do with this shirt actually. I was finishing Christmas gifts for people, and this year I've been like really big into like handmade gifts or like things that I have to like cook up, plan ahead for, things that, have some meaning to them. I would consider myself like a pretty okay gift giver. Like I like to listen to what people tell me they need, and if they don't need something, I try and come up with something creative off the top of my head. So I was working real hard on some stuff this year. I had to put the finishing touches on one thing, and I had to go to Walmart to pick up this item. And I'm also about to leave for like, I leave on Saturday. I'm gone for a week. I get back on Sunday. Oh God, no. I get back on Saturday. Leave again on Sunday to go home for Christmas. So I'm in the middle of like 2 weeks of like essentially I'm gonna have like one half a day in between where I'm not on a flight and I have to like jump on 2 different like week-long endeavors. So I have to get everything planned and ready beforehand. And I also needed a couple of things for when I go and travel. I know that I'm working late this week. I'm going to go ahead and, pick it up early. So I made a list, got a couple of things on it, and went to go to Walmart. You know about the shirt debacle that I had this week. I ordered a shirt long story short, I ordered a shirt on Depop, and I love that website. It's great. I feel pretty good about, buying a secondhand item. But anyway, it came. It was not what I expected. So now I was like kind of short an outfit to like bring to Florida. I was like, I need just like one more random like junk t-shirt. So I was like, I'll just get a graphic tee at Walmart, whatever it is, because it's down the street. And if you've ever seen, it's a clip from Family Guy, and it's Peter, and he's walking to the store, and he's got a list of like 3 things that he needs from the store. It's like uh, a loaf of bread, a carton of milk, a stick of butter. And then he's like, a carton of bread, uh, a it was like a carton of bread, a loaf of butter, a Joe Dirt DVD, a Joe Dirt DVD, Scarlett Johansson, Treasure from a Fish Tank. And it just like the more that he repeats his list, the more he loses it. And that was me. And I made the mistake of not writing a list. I should know
Mhm.
myself better. So this one item that I had to pick up that I was there for, that had to go with the gift. Walk in there, I get a couple of things, this shirt included, get really distracted by all that, go and check out, get in my car, start to drive home before realizing that I did not get the item that I needed to go there for. The one singular item that I didn't get. So I had to drive back, repark, rewalk inside, have all the same people probably look at me and be like, "What are you doing here? Are you just like making laps around the store? Like what's happening?" Um and then I had to wander around and actually find where I was supposed to pick this up because I don't go in there that much. I don't know that much. And it is, essentially 2 weeks to the day until Christmas. And so it's just an absolute hellscape. And so I had to go fight that twice because I did not put 2 and 2 together and get the one singular item that I went in for. So I had to go back for it. So I got it, I made it out. We're good, but it was not my brightest moment.
So this happens. I feel like this happens to everybody. This happens to me all the time too because I never make lists ever. So I if I go to Target or whatever, I don't know what I'm gonna get. I just kind of wing it and like, cool, cool. It
See, I
happens,
don't
but
like
that
that.
happens.
That's not me. That's not me. I'm a
So
grocery list person. I like to be in
so
and
is
out of
the
the grocery
one.
store in like 15 minutes. It was like a one-off.
Yeah. So the one time you don't make a list is when you screw up. But people forget stuff all
Exactly.
the time. People forget stuff all the time. I do it all the time. I
I
can't remember. I don't remember the last time it happened when I went to go get something and I forgot. I think it was like mustard or something, and I forgot.
I guess, but the necessity of the other items was really questionable. It was like a football, just in case like we get time to go to the beach and like throw around a football. Like
Yeah.
my job is just beach, and I didn't go in for the whatever. Whatever. I'm over it.
All right.
New York's hottest club is forgetting things in the Walmart.
1 to 5 rating for this one. Again, something that I feel like happens to people on a fairly regular basis. So the one difference is, if it were me, I would be too lazy to go back in. I would just gone home, like crap. I'll just get it next. So
We'll get them
I'm
next time.
yeah. I will give you a rating on that one of 3.32.
That's very exact. But
Hey,
all right, I
this
feel
is
like
this is the
we were both
system.
pretty
It's not.
minor
We don't wing
offenders.
the system. The system goes into an algorithm. And the AI of the algorithm spits out the number. What do you
Hey,
think we are?
that's using AI not for its intended use. Red flag. Oh my god, we need to wrap this up. We are so over time. We suck at this.
Way over.
We
This
are
is our
way
last
over
episode
time.
of the year.
All right, I guess we can allow it.
We had to condense 12 months into an hour and a half. That's pretty good.
All right, that's actually true when you look at it from
Yeah.
that viewpoint.
We
All
can
right,
turn it into 2
anyway.
parts. We can make this like the Across the Spider-Verse a podcast.
We're not doing that. We're not doing that. I don't want to edit
And we have to
more content.
retroactively go and put in a cliffhanger in the middle so people stick around for the second part.
I don't want to. No, I'm not editing that much content. We self-produce like all of this, so we do all the content and all the write-ups and every because it was our stupid idea to start this podcast in the first place. But yeah, we make all the content ourselves, and our editors, which are ourselves, are just so overworked and sick of us. So we'll see.
Never.
Maybe
Never. I love the sound
there's
of our voices. I think our voices are terrific. and they're
If we
soothing.
if we didn't like the sound of our own voices, we should have thought of that before we started a podcast where we were putting our voices all over the internet.
That's so true. Maybe next time
That's
on the
so
next
true.
episode, we'll do like an ASMR episode, and so we have to like talk and whisper the whole show.
Okay, that actually makes me uncomfortable.
And we'll talk like this the entire time.
I'm gonna talk in an accent the whole time and just I'm gonna shirk the whole premise of it. And we're just gonna really confuse the hell out of our listeners that don't know us and haven't been here before. Be like, where are you from? Well, plot twist. I don't know.
All right.
So yeah,
I did the goodbye in the last episode, so I will toss the car keys to you.
that falls to me. All right, you were tossing me the car keys. I can't finish that because I don't want to mark this episode as explicit, but those are some Taylor Swift lyrics. Anyway, all right. You threw me a bone there. Thank you for listening to all 1 hour and 30 minutes of this. If you made it this far, God, I mean, just God bless you. We are so thankful for you. This show is kind of awful, and we're thankful that you stick around for all of this. But by the time that this is dropping, it's going to be approximately the new year. So have a safe and happy new year with your families. We will see you next time. Good night and good new year, I guess.